Okay, so what's this thing called an alpha channel, and where is it stored, and how does it work? Well, one thing that I want to point out here before we dig into this thing called an alpha channel, and I don't want to go too far off the deep end here with you, but notice up on my document tab, it says the file name there, buddha.psd, the current zoom, and then of course in brackets, as we recall from earlier, the color mode, or the number of colors. So my Buddha statue, my Buddha photo, is an RGB image. So it's made up of red, green, and blue, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and open up Photoshop's Channels palette. And what the Channels palette does is it provides color information based on my image. So I'm going to head to the window menu and then all the way down to Channels. Look for Channels inside your window menu. And here we go. Now inside the channels palette, we have what's referred to as a composite channel at the top. So red, green, and blue all together. Then we have a red channel. Then we have a green channel. Then we have a blue channel. Now, all of this is just sort of background information for you based on your channels. I didn't want to dump into the channel palette and then have you wondering exactly what channels are and how they work. But the important thing to note is the Buddha channel all the way down at the bottom. So this is our alpha channel sitting down here at the bottom of the channels palette. And as a quick aside, a lot of people confuse channels with layers. I can't take my Buddha channel and drag them above the RGB and change the stacking order and all that kind of stuff. This is more just relaying color information to me, the user. That's really all there is to it. Now, remember earlier we were loading in our selection, right? Well, a faster way to go about loading in your alpha channel as a selection, which is exactly what we do, by the way, when we head up to the select menu and then down to load selection. Instead of doing that, what we can do is hold down the control key over on the Windows side or the command key here on the Mac and simply click on our alpha channel thumbnail. And that'll load in that alpha channel as a selection, as marching ants. Just kind of a cool thing that you can do there. But you know, more importantly, what I want to do here is I want to clean up my alpha channel. I want to clean up my selection so that it's absolutely perfect. What I'm referring to, of course, is all of the marching ants inside the Buddha statues. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of my marching ants by deselecting Command D or Control D, of course, and then try clicking on your Buddha alpha channel. And of course, that alpha channel then gets loaded into the main image window. And it loads in as a mask. So it's going to be made up of solid black, solid white, and shades of gray. And again, shades of gray would indicate partial selection, right? Now, the important thing to remember here, and there's a bit of a goofy rhyme that I always use to help me remember, is areas of white are revealed, they are selected. Areas of black are not selected, they're concealed. So white reveals, black conceals. You might want to jot that down in your notes or again on a sticky note. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on my Buddha statue here. And I'm going to switch back to my paintbrush tool just by hitting the B key on my keyboard. And what I can do here is I can literally paint on my alpha channel. So in other words, right now my foreground color is white, so I'll hit the X key to flip over to black, and I can actually paint in any of the white areas. I can paint that in to further refine my selection. In other words, I'm actually editing my saved selection at this point. So of course what we would really want to do is we'd want to make sure that white is our foreground color, and maybe I'll crank up my brush size, something like this, and literally just take out huge swaths of the black that I see inside my sort of the silhouette, if you will, of the statue, and just kind of come in here, clean it all up, do the best I can here. Something like this, right? All right, so you know what? I'm going to leave it up to you to clean up the rest of your selection, do the best that you can. This is why I said back in the quick mask mode that what we really want and what's most important is getting that edge defined around the statue, right? The inside, I said, doesn't matter so much. The important stuff is the outside. So now on the alpha channel, I can clean up all this stuff that's on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to leave it up to you to clean it up, and then I'll show you how this is going to play out in just a second.